Hello.
Nice intro, man. Wow. That's awesome. Did you look that up on Google?
We are the K's.
Welcome to Coffee with the K's. We have coffee.
We have our second.
We are the K's.
Yes. Well, this
And
is
that's
actually
why it's coffee
with the K's.
with the
Sure
K's.
it's not an Android.
Go get your coffee and join us.
What you guys didn't see is right before we turned it on, I was just like running all throughout the apartment, and
Yes.
it's just chaos. And then it's like, okay, I hit record now. I have to like
Pull it together,
Hello.
Josh.
And welcome.
Yes, welcome to Coffee with the K's. Yes, and what number cup of coffee is this for you today?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Yeah. The lifeblood of champions.
Somebody
right?
asked me
I will
Friday.
This is my fourth cup.
Is this yours?
It
yeah,
is.
that's my fourth.
That's
cup.
my third.
It's your third.
I'm
Okay.
behind you guys.
All right. Well, it was
It's probably
funny.
just. Oh, it is your third.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, it
you
was
only
funny
had one.
Friday because I had that was the day I had those double classes, you know, on Friday, and yeah, one of the teachers said, "Oh my gosh, you had 2 double classes, you know. So how many cups of coffee have you had?" It's like a dangerous amount.
Or sometimes you don't have any because you don't have time when you have all that when you're busy.
No, but you
What are
know,
you drinking?
I am drinking super coffee pumpkin spice latte.
Wow, sounds like a
Yes.
seasonal thing. Yeah.
It is a seasonal thing, and I got to Josh's with all intents and purposes of having hot coffee, but when I opened his refrigerator and saw the super coffee,
everything changed.
my world
Yes.
turned upside down.
Yes.
Well, I stick with the best coffee in the world for me. Enough said there. How about you, Josh?
Yeah, Guatemalan. You have to
Yeah,
tell it in case you're
Guatemalan.
new.
And it's
he
very
only
pretty.
drinks Guatemalan.
And
Yeah.
look at that cup of
The
coffee,
presentation
man.
is
Yeah.
very
It's really
nice.
good.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's very,
good.
very
It's
beautiful.
good. Yeah. So I was pulling up my coffee review, the 3 or 4 categories of coffee. Remember we did this once before.
Yes, it was a while ago.
So that's it. So I was pulling it up because I'm trying something brand new for the first time, and this is actually a friend of ours.
Summer Sevi.
Summer Sevi.
Yeah.
Shout out Summer
Alla
Sevi.
Prima Roastery right here. This is
Put
Brazilian
your bag right in front of
Bourbon
my face.
Barrel. Yes. See? So yeah. But she's roasted local here in Pensacola, Florida, and I used to teach with her at Helen Cairo, and she moved on, and now she is doing this full time, which is really awesome, and she's opening up her coffee shop on September 22nd. So if you're in Pensacola, you need to go check her out.
Okay,
It's
so
off
now
the
you
bar.
just
Yeah.
told everybody there's no way you're going to say anything negative about that coffee.
Oh no! This is gonna be a fair and impartial because it's just one type of roast. So
Okay.
She does many different types of
all
roasts,
kinds of
yeah.
stuff.
And we've
yes.
had
well,
lots
and
of
this is
coffee
the
from
first
her.
time that she's done bourbon barrel aging. So
Okay.
she wanted she wanted my feedback anyway.
Okay, so here
all
we
right,
go.
So
What
the,
is
the
your
four
feedback?
the 4 categories here, okay? Aroma, acidity, body, flavor, and aftertaste.
Okay.
Okay. So the aroma, coffee.
It smells like coffee.
Smells like coffee.
Good deal.
Does it smell
That's
like
a
Maxwell
plus.
House or
No, it's definitely the aroma is kind of rich. It's a little earthy. It's not like the Guatemalan, like you can smell it the minute you walk into it. Yeah, it's like
Yes.
it's a real thick aroma. This is not quite as thick.
A
This
little
is
lighter.
a little lighter, but it's also a lighter roast. So
What kind is it? What is it?
It's Brazilian bourbon barrel.
Brazilian,
Yeah,
okay.
Bourbon barrel. So,
Got it.
Yeah, she felt like the Brazilian would work best. So, okay. So acidity. All right. Let's see. Bright, dry sensation that enlivens the taste
Yes,
of
so
the coffee.
we should probably keep talking while he sips, so there's not dead air.
Yeah,
Okay,
that-
there we
it's
go.
definitely. Yeah, the acidity is
Forever
definitely.
dead air on our podcast.
Sometimes.
We all drink at the same
Well, I
time.
know that's what always happens. That one always bothers me at the very beginning when we go, coffee with the case, yay! And then we all sip at the same time, and then there's like 4 seconds of silence. I usually have to like go through and edit that out.
You're longer sippers.
Yeah.
All right. So the acidity, how's the acidity?
Very good. Very bright. Very bright acidity. Definitely. So yeah, because
Okay.
it definitely like when you drink it, it goes like ding,
Yeah.
in your mouth, So that's good. The body and mouth feel. Okay, it's definitely not. It's heavy. It's definitely It's got.
It's a heavier taste.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a light
for
roast.
sure. I don't think this is not light. It's silky though. Yeah, definitely heavy. So you would like this.
Yeah.
You would like this, especially like your affinity for Guatemalan. It's very similar. It's very similar, and I think you get then going to the flavor, you get a little bit of that sweetness from the bourbon on the aftertaste.
Okay.
There's
there
a
you go.
little bit of that there. So the Jack Daniel's coffee that we had before
Had
on
that
previous
little
episodes with Coffee with the K,
Yes.
which you have to go check out. That definitely had significant Jack Daniel's flavor in the coffee,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know if the beans themselves were like if it was in the barrels. I think it was in the barrels. I don't know. I'd be curious to see. I think there was
We
definitely
didn't
more
know
whiskey.
a lot about that coffee.
Yeah.
I don't think it didn't say on the
I know.
bag,
Oh, it was
so-
good.
Yeah,
It was good.
so
We
I
liked it.
definitely feel like the Jack Daniel's one had more of the whiskey flavor.
It's a
than-
good
than
dessert
this does.
coffee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I wouldn't classify this as dessert coffee. This is definitely like drink this in the morning. Like drink this in the morning, get your mouth going, get your
Yeah.
brain going. Yeah, wake you
Well,
up.
we used to always, for a while, we'd all try like the same coffee, and now we just started to do our own thing.
Except for Dad, he just does Guatemala.
That's
Yes,
the
you
best
just-
coffee in the world.
But it was funny because what was we had a student last week that brought us some hot beverage stuff.
Well, you want to just tell him what it
It
was?
was cacao. It
Yeah.
wasn't coffee, but it was really funny because she said
Oh, this was,
that
this was
that her
hilarious.
husband got it and tried it and hated it and said the K's will probably like this.
This is crazy people coffee.
And it wasn't. And guess what? The K's liked it.
Yeah, it was
yes,
good.
it was very good because we don't. Most of you know by now we don't do sugar, so it was just cacao.
Yeah.
And we put some heavy cream in, and it was very tasty.
Yeah, it tastes like
was,
dark chocolate.
It tasted like dark chocolate, and it was very. It was like a dessert. I couldn't imagine having that in the morning, really.
My only
but-
complaint was it didn't have a kick. If it would have more caffeine kick, I would
Well,
like
so
that a lot
so that
more.
was the thing for me is I had it first thing in the morning, and I felt the kick.
Yeah.
I think I only had 2 cups of coffee.
That might
that
be
day.
just because that's when your body gets roaring.
Well, it could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been. Absolutely.
Well, that's
So-
like this. The super coffee. This is just a treat. It definitely is sweet. I don't like to drink it all the time. It's just
the
a
super
special,
the super
yeah.
coffee.
So let's get
Yeah.
down to business here.
Music business.
Yeah.
Oh,
Music.
Yeah, so we
business.
decided this week, a lot of times we talk ahead of time about, okay, what are we going to talk about on the podcast? And this week we decided to just
Wing it.
wing it. We thought we
Wing
would
it,
just
baby.
do our regular daily talking and see what
Well, we're
comes
getting
up.
back to the roots
The
of
roots.
Coffee with the K's.
Yes.
Okay, so you go back to the first season when we first started this. The whole idea was, we would get together before our students would come. And
The
we'd sit-
K's in their natural environment.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And we'd sit and have coffee and just talk, and then we were sharing stuff, and we'd tell people about our conversations, and they'd say, well, that would sound good on a podcast.
Yeah, good idea.
So-
So 4th season, and some of you listen pretty regular, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. Shout
And
out to our regulars.
And we have gotten some great coffee.
Yeah. So, how was your week this week?
How was my week? I get to go first.
I guess.
Great week teaching. Really a lot of light bulb moments this week, especially with voice students. What I told Dad this morning, we talk other than just on the podcast actually, but we were
I don't.
talking this morning.
This is the first time I've talked to them all week.
Right, yeah, right. But it's funny how pretty much all students will think that if they just practice a little and then they tell you that they practice, that we don't know that
Yes.
they really haven't practiced.
You fool.
Yes,
Yeah.
you see nothing, and so we know. And sometimes we'll say, yeah, well, you didn't really practice, and other times we just roll with it. You work with everybody, you encourage everybody, you get everybody.
I think it's funny that people think that I could fool the teacher.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is somebody who's done this hundreds of thousands of times.
Right.
But I can fool them.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell them I practice, and I really didn't practice much.
Yeah.
I
But
practiced 10 minutes before the lesson.
That was it. And then they'll say they practiced, so they're not really lying. But this week I actually had quite a few students that really did practice, and so then they were really excited.
That's
'Cause
exciting. Yes.
They would say, like, leaving the lesson, I'd be like, I practiced. I was like, I know.
Good for you.
I can tell.
I can tell, yeah.
Well, because they get better. They
Yeah.
get better, and
Yes.
voice sometimes I think is interesting and is a little bit different because people don't always think about voice as being
An
instrument, and they sing in the car, they sing in the shower, but they don't set aside that 30 minutes or whatever to actually practice voice. So
Yeah.
when they really begin to do that, and they do the exercises and the things that I tell them to do, and they start seeing changes in their
Yeah.
voice, it's very exciting.
Well, you have to see it comes up to repetitions, and it becomes second nature when you feel those requirements of repetitions, you know.
Yeah.
And the people that do that don't have a hard time incorporating the lessons and the drills and the techniques into their singing because it's becoming second nature.
It's becoming second nature, and that's
then
it.
there's those people that don't do that.
Right,
And then they wonder why I can do all that stuff in my lesson. And then when I go to sing, I don't do any of it.
Yeah, and then they get upset because it's like, well, I can't do the breathing when I'm thinking about opening my mouth, and I can't open my mouth when I'm thinking about doing the breathing. And yes, and that is absolutely legitimate. That happens. Unless you work on one, like if you spend time really working the breathing and that starts to come along, then all of a sudden you can begin to open your mouth and
Well,
realize
and
you're doing
sometimes
the breathing.
the skills are related, right? So I had a student this week that's exactly what I did. She was a guitar student, and there's a lot going on. Anytime you're working with chords, especially when you're new to chords, you know, it feels like there's so much going on. You know, you always talk about it's like the guy at the circus that's spinning all the plates, right?
It's
You know,
not multitasking.
yeah, that's it. So there's just a lot of stuff that's
Another
happening.
word for musician.
Right?
There you go.
Totally, yeah.
You know, reading the music, listening to the click, counting with the click, playing what you're counting,
Yeah.
following the notes with your eyes. It's like all this stuff at the
Moving
same
your
time.
fingers, and
Yeah.
like with the guitar, you know, one of the things, like if you compare like piano or drums or something like that to the guitar, the left hand has to do something completely different from the right hand, yet at the same time they have to be in sync,
Yes.
right? And I think people don't really realize like just how difficult that is, because you know, guitar is such a popular instrument, and you see so many people play the guitar, and professionals always make it look easy because
Sure.
that's their job.
It's their
You know,
job.
but that's the thing, is it's difficult. So you got all this stuff going on. So she was doing good, but she was, you know, messing up on some of these chords, and then she's getting off the metronome and all this. And I said, okay, so you need to pick one thing, because
Yep.
there's all this stuff going on, and it's easy to get overwhelmed, and then you start to get discouraged. Pick that one thing. So it was her index finger. So let's focus on the index finger, because the index finger is, you know, muting the strings when you're making these chord changes. So focus on keeping the index finger curved and switching it on the beat, okay? And then she did it, and after about a couple of tries, she nailed it. And then I said, okay, good, now do it again. We did it like several times, so that, you know, she got it. And then the issues that she was having with the other fingers not falling into place, they started falling into place. And then next thing you know, she's playing the whole song,
Yeah.
and you know, it all came together. So you know, so that's the thing I was telling her, and I think it's important to remember, is that there is so much going on, and you can't possibly think about every single little thing. Something's got to kind of be
Well, I
automatic.
mean, when you
pilot.
walk, do you figure out how many feet and inches in each stride?
No,
And yet it's the same.
right,
You can measure it every time you walk. It's the same distance.
right.
So how did you end up doing that?
Well, muscle memory.
Your
I mean,
your
it's
mind
muscle
had to
memory.
figure out all that stuff. Yeah, it does. It's a miracle. You know, your
Yeah.
mind's
It's
really
amazing. It
yeah,
really
very
is.
capable. I think people underestimate the power of the human brain,
Yeah,
because you figure it out and then you go with it. And
Yeah.
it's
There you go.
the same thing in music. You don't have to think about all these things and let them trip you up.
Yeah.
Because people, they get overwhelmed by like, oh man, I gotta listen
Right.
and count, and if I listen and count, I can't play.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get it, man.
Right.
You listen, you count, you play what you're counting. I have a voice with my mouth, my vocal cords, and I line that up in counting with the metronome, and then I use the voice of my instruments, be that the guitar or the drums or whatever, and I line that up. I speak with that voice, speaking with your instrument.
There you go. There you
It's
go.
not that hard. It's really kind of a natural thing. It can get blown out of proportion, I think.
Well,
a lot of
because if you
times.
think about every tiny little thing, see, it's funny. You use the walking analogy. I use the one of eating, because I said when you go to eat, you stab a fork full of food.
How do you find
You
your
hit
mouth?
your face. Yeah. That's it.
How do you find your mouth?
That's it. And then, and then I think, like, you didn't always used to.
Yeah,
We have pictures, I'm sure,
yeah.
of baby you in the high chair
Yeah.
with the food all over the place, right?
That's a good
but
one. That
but
is
yeah,
good.
that's the one. Like, eventually you started
Yeah.
figuring out where that was, and now
Yeah.
you hit it every time. You
And
know?
it didn't take that long.
No, right? Yeah, it really didn't. So yeah, it's the
That's
same.
So funny. I'm sorry.
So say you guys
Lots
say.
of you guys with your imagery. I don't know. I'm just not that. I just like tell my students to do it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not there.
I
I'm
got
like, just
pictures of him
breathe.
eating his birthday cake,
Yeah.
all over his
That's it.
face and
That's
stuff. It's like, yeah, that your mouth is in there somewhere.
It's there, right?
No.
It's around there, right? Yeah, but that's it. Eventually, you figure it out, and you
It
know.
gets
Yeah.
So
no,
yeah,
and it,
so
and
it's,
it
it's
happens.
the same thing.
But there is a lot of multitasking, and that's it. And I tell students, you do have to pick one thing to work on. And I tell all of them, like, okay, right now we're going to do this exercise, and we're only going to think about opening your mouth, long mouth, flat tongue. That's all we're going to do. And then they do it. I say, don't worry about the breathing. And inevitably, when I say, don't worry about the breathing, they do better at the
Yeah,
breathing.
they do.
Yeah.
It's like once they start, like, really thinking it, it's like sometimes you
Well,
get
I
two
was
in your
thinking-
It's a
own head.
mental confusion.
It is.
Yeah.
I was thinking about breathing this week because of teaching choir, and I got a lot of these kids that have never been done choir or anything like that before, and we're talking about breathing, and I was thinking, like, the thing about breathing when you sing, it's very much the actual act of taking the air in is very natural.
Oh yes,
Because you breathe
absolutely.
properly when you're sleeping. That's why
Yes.
you can see people rise and fall.
Yeah.
Like if they're laying on your back, you can see them rise and fall when they breathe, because that's how you get the full lung, capacity
I
when
do.
you're sleeping.
I
Well,
tell-
I don't
do.
think you get your full capacity. It just gets an acceptable
Relaxed.
range.
Yeah, you get
know.
a relaxed breath.
Well, you get a heck of a lot more than what
Because
we're
you know how
doing
much
right
air
now.
your lungs can
Oh
hold.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
it's a
I'm
lot.
aware, but that's the thing is you get a heck of a lot more than when you're awake. When you're awake, like we are right now, and the way that we're talking right now, when you take a breath in between the sentence, you're not getting a whole lot of air.
No, we're not trying to, because you don't need a whole
You
lot.
don't need to,
Yeah.
right? And so, typically speaking, the muscle memory is when you're conscious is short.
Shallow,
It's
short
short,
breaths.
shallow breaths, and that's what you've been doing your entire life. But when you go to sleep, there's muscle memory there too, because
Right.
you sleep for 6 to 8 hours or whatever, and you breathe the proper way when you're asleep.
But what you're not adding into that is relaxing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Well,
know,
there you go.
If you're
a
standing and
key.
talking, doing a podcast, your breathing might be shallower than if you were sitting on a couch watching a football game.
Well, if you're watching the
Or
Browns,
maybe not. Well, yes. watching the Browns.
You
your
might
breathing-
need the plastic bag. and paper bag.
I don't know. Or apparently the Kansas City Chiefs these days.
Yeah,
I don't
I know.
know what Twilight Zone episode we're in now. We'll save that for the end of the podcast.
Oh yeah, don't
so-
get ahead of yourself.
It's gonna be hard, but yeah.
I do. I tell my students, most all my students, when they have their first lesson, I say, okay, your homework is go home and lay down.
Yeah.
And they're like, and they just lay down and breathe
Yeah.
and think about that natural breath, how the air goes in and
Well,
goes
you
out.
know when I lay on my back on the floor,
Yeah.
I feel pressure on my chest. I feel like the weight of my chest, which I don't feel when I'm standing erect.
But that shouldn't matter because the
Your breathing
diaphragm
is lower
is
than
what's
your chest.
moving. And
Yeah.
so that's that's a good point, because
You're thinking
that's
about
the
your chest.
that's the biggest problem is
Right.
when people go to take a deep breath, they go
Yeah.
and like that,
You
because
do a
they
chest
think
breath.
yes, and that's
Yes.
not, you're not really filling up with air when you do that, you know. And as a matter of fact, it's something that occurred to me this week because I was teaching about I'm doing the poppy thing with my hands.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were teaching about.
It's a vocal cords.
Okay.
So, thinking about vocal cords. Okay, when you are breathing, because I have a video where they do the scope down there, and
So cool.
it's awesome.
You should Google it.
You should. It's awesome, and I'll show the older kids. When we're talking about it, when you're breathing, your vocal cords are open,
Yes.
and then when you use them, they come together,
Yes.
right? So the thing is, how much air is coming in when they're like this compared to when they're like this, right?
Yeah.
So when you go and you're actually activating,
noise,
yes, they're closed. You're
They're closed.
you're not getting as
Right.
much air. So that's why when you breathe and you breathe properly, you can't hear it
You
very
shouldn't
much.
hear it.
because
That brings to mind that question on Quora that was sent to me about, do human beings, are they born with two sets of vocal cords, one for low pitched notes and one for high pitched notes?
And the answer is.
Yeah,
Don't be a
No.
doctor.
missed the boat on
No.
the medical profession here.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Anatomy. Yeah.
No, that's it. One set of vocal
Explain
cords.
how the vocal cords work.
Well, Josh was explaining it some, but one of the things that we they really are just vocal folds.
Yeah, they're not
actually
actual
cords,
cords.
and they are attached to the muscles that are inside the larynx, that are attached to the muscles in your throat.
But
so
they themselves are muscles.
they are muscles. Yes, they are, because they react like muscles. They can get sore like muscles.
Yep.
And they can get injured like muscles can
Yeah.
get injured also.
Well, and they need blood flow, just
And they
like
need blood
muscles.
flow,
And,
right?
yeah.
But they have to vibrate to make a pitch. And so one of the things that we need air pressure going by them to get them to vibrate to make the pitch. So we want constant, steady air pressure. That's why breathing is important in singing. And one of the things I've really been stressing, especially with my male singers as they go higher, as any instrument, it goes higher, it's like a guitar string.
stretches
It
them.
stretches.
Yeah.
It stretches. So the vocal cords are stretching to make a higher pitch, and that makes tension really, because it's all attached to your throat and those muscles. So our goal is to try to keep our neck and the other muscles as relaxed as possible, and just let the vocal folds do what they need to do to get the best tone.
So is
There you go.
it easier to do a low pitch
Yes.
or a high pitch?
It's easier to do a low pitch. It is.
For who? Everyone?
Just relatively speaking,
Okay.
in
Right.
anybody's voice, it's easier to sing a low pitch. But the problem is, if we start with everybody singing low, where it's close to your talking voice,
Right,
then
yes.
people aren't actually singing.
Right.
They're just doing elongated talking.
Right.
Whereas singing is different than talking.
Yes.
And it's a whole different part of your brain that works singing and that works speech, which is the coolest thing ever.
Well, that's why there's people that'll have, strokes and traumatic accidents, and they can't talk, but they can sing,
Yes.
and they can communicate through singing.
It's amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
And then you can begin to retrain the brain in order to go from that singing back to speech, and they get new dendrites form. It's the coolest thing.
Oh, and Mel Tillis, known for his stuttering,
Yes.
and he could sing beautifully.
yeah.
Well, same.
Yeah.
Cher
Yeah, she was a stutterer,
very
too.
shy and introverted because she was a stutterer and did speech therapy. And somebody said, she should sing. Maybe that'll help. And Cher. So
That's-
Yeah.
there we
Cher.
go. Sonny and Cher. Look it up. I tell
Well,
people that. And
That's pretty dated, even for you.
Is
I know.
Sonny and Cher?
That's almost before
I
your
got
time.
You, babe. No, I love Sonny and Cher. I got you, babe.
They say
Yeah, I know.
Well, pay the rent. Who told him he could sing? I'm sorry.
They needed somebody to fill the part.
I guess so.
He
That's
sang
it.
on pitch. That's the
Well,
most
there
important
you
thing.
go.
Well,
That's-
It is.
Bruce Springsteen. I mean, come on. I mean,
it's not always about the
John
quality.
Cougar.
It is
of the
not
voice.
always about the quality. People,
Axl Rose. If you were to hear his voice, you just talking, you'd be like, "This guy can't
Yeah,
sing. You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
be kidding me,
That's
man."
funny.
Well, boy, does it fit rock and roll, man.
Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you, very sad this week about Steven Tyler.
What?
He had vocal hemorrhaging,
Ooh.
and he's now
Jeez.
on complete vocal rest. And they're talking. That's the other amazing thing about the vocal cords is they can repair.
Yeah.
They will repair. Sometimes it takes a really long time, and sometimes it does require surgery. But they're not talking surgery with him. He had vocal hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
So there was something ruptured, whether he had a nodule or something.
Well, and he's still singing like "Dream On" and stuff, and
Yes.
going for the high notes.
And in the,
Dude's getting
in
up
the
in his
original
years, man.
key,
Yeah.
he's in his, what is he, 75 or something?
Yeah.
And so, he was actually singing with a ruptured vocal cord,
Oh,
which I don't know.
geez.
It must have been extremely
It had to have
painful.
hurt. Yeah.
But they did say
Wow.
now he is on strict vocal
I'll never
rest.
forget that 2.5 Men episode when he's living next to Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler's practicing. He said, "Shut up, man!"
Well, I mean,
That's so
he
funny.
does a lot of correct things. He opens his mouth clearly.
Yeah,
does
he's got a
opens
hell of a
his
mouth.
Oh yeah.
And he does support, but he really pushes the limits of his vocal range, and he sings a lot. And I think sometimes it's the amount of singing that can damage the voice.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and this is why, I've had, because, right now Taylor Swift is kind of the biggest name in the music industry, you know, and so, kids will ask me, Mr. K, what do you think about Taylor Swift? And I tell them, she has my full respect as a performing artist, because to do... First of all, her shows are long. She does
3 hours. They
yes,
say.
Yeah.
and she's doing them almost every night,
Right.
and she's able to do it.
Yes.
She must be singing properly.
Well,
Yes.
that's it.
But she's also, and one thing I point out to my singers, I'm sorry you didn't
No, go
finish
ahead.
your thought,
No.
is that she is in top physical
Yes, she is.
condition.
Yeah. Yes, she is.
So when she's not singing, I guarantee she's at the gym and she has a personal
Yes.
trainer.
Yes.
Because you cannot work at that level without being physically fit. And just singing takes a lot of, you have to, it's very physical. Well, all
Absolutely.
music really is.
Well,
Drums is very physical too. So
Oh, yeah.
I've been encouraging my voice students to exercise. Do
Yeah.
planks. I'm like, do
Yeah.
planks. And my one girl, I'm so proud of her, Mackenzie. Shout out to Mackenzie.
She's a Swiftie.
She is. She is a Swiftie, and she has started. She walks a mile on the treadmill every day.
It's awesome.
So that went off. Is there a
It's
problem?
no,
Oh,
it's
it's still
fine.
going. I'm
now
sorry.
you gave him something to edit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Have to cut that out now.
No, maybe not.
No, we actually haven't been recording this whole time.
I always keep saying we should have like a blooper reel.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. Do we want to take a break and then come back and talk about the Browns, or we have a?
Yeah, that sounds.
See, that's really lame what you did there.
Oh, sorry.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll move it on to our fantasy football discussion.
Oh no.
All right. There we go.
See, that's a better way to do it.
Okay, so
I'm leaving all of this in.
Ron Kay's music instruction has been trusted by thousands in Pensacola to learn, play, and love music. Our strong passion for teaching music provides expert knowledge and guidance which helps you succeed and have fun with your music lessons. Whether it's a bucket list dream or a desire to enhance your child's life, our music lessons are the answer. Call 850-453-9966 now. Realize your musical dreams. Visit musiclessonspensacola.com today.
are we back?
And we're back.
And now we have water with the case. It
Yes.
just doesn't have the same ring.
I know. I didn't get any.
He's got nothing.
I got nothing. No, that's it. So, all right. Welcome to the football portion of Coffee with the Hayes.
Yes, and sometimes
Everybody loves football.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
Yeah. It's good.
fantasy football helps you get more involved with games you would have never watched any other way.
Yeah.
But if you got players in them, then you got a vested interest.
Absolutely.
Makes it more fun.
It's very fun. It's really, I just think it's
You
really
made an
fun.
animal out of your mouth.
I know. Yeah, I did. But it's kind of cool though because
Now you can talk football.
we can talk
and-
football.
Yes,
Because
yes.
I was like the other day, I'm like, should I try Daniel Jones again or should I go with Baker? She's like, no, get Daniel Jones out of there. He's been terrible. He's gonna have a terrible season. Giants are gonna suck the whole year.
kind of hoping Baker gets his chance.
We
to,
want Baker to do good.
Yeah.
We like Baker.
He got
I don't
screwed
know.
in Cleveland,
I
and
think
it would
so.
be nice to see him catch on somewhere.
Well, and it was really interesting. Did you didn't hear the Greg Williams interview?
I
That
didn't.
was
You,
good.
you talked about it, so I didn't
Yeah.
feel I needed to listen.
Yeah,
Since
okay. Because I kind of gave you like a play-by-play,
I got
and then he said,
Yes,
and then
right.
the host said,
Right, that was kind of
it
it.
colored in a lot of the spaces there, that interview, because
Yeah.
there was things that I wasn't aware of that when you go and listen to that, you go, oh, so that's why.
Yeah.
So Greg Williams was a former coach of the Browns, an interim coach.
Well, so just to give you guys the backstory, so we're Cleveland Browns fans, obviously.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Okay, so, in case you're
He
just
admits
joining
that
us.
out
Yes,
loud.
I know.
yes.
I usually say it like this.
We won game one. Why are
I
we
know.
not? We're
I
not
usually
putting
say-
the
yeah.
bags came off the head after the first week.
I
Okay?
do. I usually go. Unfortunately, but
yeah.
we did win.
No,
we
you
are
know-
having a winning season.
What happens is
1-0.
there we go, undefeated, baby. Yes, that's right. Now we have a Monday game, so we'll see what happens Tuesday. Yeah. So anyway, we went through this terrible period where basically we had a losing season, like didn't win any games the entire season, and the season before that we won 2.
And so we had the first round draft pick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Twice in a row, folks.
There we
yeah.
go.
Yeah. No, it was
Who was
absolutely
that
terrible.
first round draft?
Well, I keep thinking Pat
Wasn't it
Hamilton, but he
Baker?
was the offensive
Didn't we get
coordinator.
Baker on one of those?
What? The first round
One-
draft
a
pick?
first round?
Oh, I was thinking coaches. No.
Oh.
It was Miles.
Miles Garrett?
Yeah, Miles
and we
Garrett.
love
What I was
Miles.
worth it.
We
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
We love
and
Miles.
Johnny Football.
Oh,
So-
that's who.
Whoa,
it
there we
was.
go now.
That was it.
It was
Johnny
just
from
Manziel.
Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
It was Justin Gilbert. Here's the crazy part. That year, we picked Justin Gilbert before Johnny Football because we had 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Who's
And
Justin Gilbert?
My point exactly. My point exactly. No,
As
it
you
was
hear the birds chirp or crickets.
I know. That's
I know.
it. That's it. So no, it was just terrible. It was a terrible time. And here's the thing. This is why I'm like, we made it through that. Like as a fan base, people talk about how loyal Browns fans are.
Yes,
I'm like,
we're
yeah,
very
we stuck
loyal.
with them all the
We
way
did.
through because they would give you glimmers of hope.
Yes.
That would keep you
And
around.
then rip them away.
right away. Exactly.
Reach in your heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and you get to know the players and
Yes.
and all this. So anyway, when they finally decided to fire Hugh Jackson, not Jackman, Wolverine. I
Yeah.
wish we would have had Wolverine. I wish we would have had Wolverine.
Yeah, he would
would've
have.
been
He would have hated you.
Would have been a great coach.
And you're gonna do what?
Yes, that's it. So anyway, Hugh Jackson. So they fired him, and they took the defensive coordinator, who was Greg Williams, and they made him the interim head coach to finish out the season. And I think they
won.
Yes, they had a
4
great.
games.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was amazing. And so all of us,
We were excited about that.
and we really
Yes.
wanted him to be the coach moving forward because it was such a clear change when he became the coach to what
Yeah,
was
night and
happening
day.
before. It was night and
Yeah.
day. So the interview, now this is
a long time
how many
ago.
years? Like 10 years later
Yeah,
now?
it's a while.
I mean, yeah, at least, and now he's, he did an interview and he was really nice. He wasn't bad mouthing anybody necessarily, but he just kind of said at the
Said how
beginning,
it is. This is how it
this
is.
is how it went. And basically, Haslam, the owner,
Was wanting to coach the team.
wanted to coach the team.
He's
He's
a
like,
minute detail.
yes.
Yeah.
He's sitting there telling everybody how to coach and which players to play and stuff. And he's
Yeah.
like, "You're not the coach. You hired me to be the coach." Let me be
Doesn't
the coach."
understand the role of the owner.
Owner. I know.
Your role of the owner is to sit there and make money.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's it.
And when I need more money, you give us more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the thing. So it was an interesting, getting his interesting interview, kind of getting his perspective on stuff. But he talked about Baker, and they said, look, we think Baker's a good player. He's like, yeah, I think Baker's a great, quarterback, Baker Mayfield. And what happened? How come it just didn't work in Cleveland? And basically, he said he was the fall guy. Everything was falling apart. They weren't going to blame the coach. And definitely, he said the coach is not going to say, oh, yeah, it's my fault. Because the coach doesn't want to get fired. So they made Baker the fall guy, the scapegoat. And it says, see, it's this quarterback that we have. We can't do anything with this quarterback.
He can't get along with others.
He can't get along with others.
And
can't throw the ball.
He was traditionally, he kind of came in as like a hothead.
Oh, he did.
He's type A personality.
Yeah, but that was it. And I liked the energy that he brought because he would be like up and down on the bench, getting people, and he's apparently doing that with Tampa Bay.
Well, that's why they like him in Tampa Bay. That's exactly that's a huge part of why he got the starting job this year. Is because
and he's my quarterback on fantasy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
One of them. I have 2 fantasy teams.
So we wish Baker well.
We do.
Hope that the Tampa Bay Bucks do good by him. But we'll see. We're moving forward. We have Deshaun Watson. And,
it was just interesting to see his. Greg Watson's Williams' perspective on it, because you knew something wasn't right.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. There was something going on in the background that wasn't coming to the surface.
Well, you kept saying that.
Yes.
You kept saying something is going. We're not privy to all the information.
Yeah.
So
no, there was a lot of
Stefanski, what? Baker's got a broken leg and a fractured eye. Suck it up.
Yeah,
man.
put him in there. He needs to play. Next man up.
But he had like a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, he did.
And he was playing.
Well, the torn labrum. I mean, that's the part underneath the shoulder.
And they're like, tape him up, put him back in, and it was his right arm. I mean,
meanwhile, you got Chubb on the bench. Knitting sweaters.
Oh, I know, right? The best running back in the league, and don't run the football. I know. So
we're not going to use him. He might get hurt.
Right. So So we went through all of that, but we'll see.
But we won the first game.
We did.
And we're playing. Who are we playing on Monday?
Steelers.
The rivalry game.
Yeah,
big rivalry.
Well, and it doesn't seem to matter. The thing with the Steelers, like I talked a little bit of trash to my Steeler friends, but not like too much because
you never know.
Because the thing is, it doesn't seem to matter. Like they always have something special for Cleveland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a big rivalry, and what's his Mike Tomlin, the head coach. Like he doesn't.
The coolest coach in football.
He is the coolest coach in football.
He is Joe Cool.
He is.
Yeah.
He's the coolest, and he doesn't show his whole hand. And so sometimes now we've beaten him before, so hopefully we do it again.
Is it home or is it in Pittsburgh?
It's in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a road game. It's gonna be fun. So we'll see. We'll see how they do.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, we enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Now last week, so the first week of football was so weird, and everybody across the ball.
Well, and we have a fantasy. We have a Ron K's Music and RKMI fantasy league,
which I won last year. In week 1, I got my ass handed to me.
Yeah.
I finished dead last.
Did you really? You were dead last.
Dead
last.
My
gosh.
Well, and it was just everybody was talking about how weird it was because the Chiefs lost, and
they don't even look like the Chiefs.
And I mean, they lost to the Lions.
Yeah,
which
Lamar
was
Jackson
so
had 5 points. I mean,
and it was really ridiculous. And then with Aaron Rodgers going out with the injury,
Joe Burrow. Looked like he just witnessed a mass murder.
Yeah, his big eyes.
He's scared to death, man.
Looking all around. He's supposed to be Joe Cool. They called him Joe Cool. Yeah, he was not cool.
No,
he was not cool. He gave up cigars or something.
Yeah,
he ain't never smoking another one, man.
But he was completely psyched out. They said that he's never beaten Cleveland.
And you could tell. You could tell they were in his head. They were in his head, man.
Yeah. Oh, and he got sacked. I don't know how many times. I mean, they were coming after him.
Pressured and
they were
But now I gotta tell you, if I saw Myles Garrett coming at me
I'd run the other way.
Yeah.
I'd be losing it too.
Yeah.
And who's the new guy that we have?
Darius Smith. He had a game.
His arms are like so.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
He was cool. That was a lot of fun because I had seen him play before and I knew he was good. But it's always funny because like we had that Olivier Vernon for a while that he did so awesome at that other team, but then when he came to Cleveland, it wasn't as good.
Not so
Xavier
much.
Clowney was the same thing.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes these guys were really good on one team, but that's because they were the only one.
Oh man, do you hear yourself? Now compare that frame of mind to Watkins.
Oh,
Watson. I tell you, I'll get his name right.
Get his name
The
right.
day he scores some touchdowns, I'll get his name right.
He scored a
He got
touchdown
a
week
touchdown.
I said touchdowns, not one.
Oh,
It's
no.
like he's in there for 3 plays. They get in the red zone and he
scored-
chokes.
he
Now,
scored
wait. He gets in the red zone and he chokes. And like, wow, he's really good, man. You see his performance? Yeah, I did. He ended up petering out, man.
He had 1 rushing touchdown and he had 1 touchdown pass to Harrison Bryant.
Yeah,
That's
so
2
he
touchdowns.
He got 2 touchdowns.
So-
and he ran it in.
You
No,
know,
I'm not saying he was perfect. It was definitely.
I would compare him to Baker Mayfield at this point.
Well, I would. Yeah, I
Yes.
think that would be
his
a fair comparison.
Superman ability is not shown up.
I think that's a
and
fair
I'm tired
comparison.
of the hype, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tired of Stefanski and the whole crowd. Like he's God on the
Well, he has a
football.
lot.
Well, they're
He's got
paying
a
him
lot to
enough.
prove. He
He's
really
got a
does.
lot to prove.
And that's kind of where I'm at. He has a lot to prove. And
I was not. I
Well,
will
he's not
say.
proving it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I will say. I mean, they won the game. So I mean, and they.
The pundits are saying, well, Cleveland could still go all the way, even if he's a mediocre
That's what
quarterback.
they're saying.
Because they think he's a mediocre quarterback.
Right.
Right.
And because we have
Right.
a lot of
And
other
you
talent.
ask anybody except Mary Kay.
Yeah.
you know.
No. Exactly. Exactly.
No relation. Just
Yes.
No.
yeah.
K-A-Y. Yeah.
Just
K-A-Y-E.
saying, yeah.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
But it's our defense is amazing.
Defense is awesome.
Amazing, and Thornhill's
Well,
going to be back
and
this
look
week.
at what they got. They got Jim Schwartz.
Well,
and
that's the key.
yeah.
He's totally turned it around.
Yes. And
I love the guys before him. Like, let's play zone the whole game.
Oh, I know.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
We're going to play zone the whole game. And then they get their asses handed to them. And what do they do in the next game? They
Same
play
thing.
zone
Yes,
the whole
play
game.
zone.
Like, have you ever heard of man-to-man coverage?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yes.
And this guy, he's in there. They're man-to-man most of the time.
Yeah, and that's kind of his philosophy is like, here's your guy, cover your guy.
Yeah.
And
But it just seems like they are such a cohesive unit this year. Like you
Yes.
can
Oh,
just
the
see
defense?
it. The
Yeah.
defense.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like they like each other. They're like friends, and I don't know. There's like
Yeah.
it's so neat. They do all those little handshakes and dances and
oh yeah,
the
yeah.
gritty.
How does she know the gritty?
Yeah, I know the gritty.
I have
Yeah,
to
it was
learn
good.
to do
You
the
gotta learn
gritty.
gritty. Yeah.
But I mean, it was just they were. I follow a couple of them now. I follow
Yeah.
MJ, of course, on Instagram.
Oh yeah, 'cause MJ's from Pensacola.
Yes,
so
I
MJ
work with his
understands.
uncle,
Yes.
so
Yeah,
just in
yeah.
case.
We're looking
That's
forward to
right.
dinner, MJ.
Yes.
There we go.
That's
Go out
right.
to dinner,
That's
man.
right. We gotta
Coffee
do it.
at least.
Yeah, right. There you
Coffee
go.
with
Get him
MJ
on
and the
podcast.
K's.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
He's good at. He would make me look so tiny.
I know he
Yes.
makes us all look tiny. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, we're MJ backers. He's
Yeah.
from the local area here.
Yeah.
He is.
When he's giving back to the community and
Yeah.
he's doing good stuff. So yeah, not just in the football world. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
awesome.
Awesome.
So there we go. So
Football.
we did our
Gotta
football.
love
it.
Yeah, gotta love it. So we'll see how it goes. Moving on across the next week 2 and week 3 here, and I don't know when we get another podcast episode up. We'll either be like, yeah, those Browns, or
Yeah. Well, we'll be back to normal.
yeah.
One thing about that Greg Williams thing that he said was great. He said, okay, the logistics and the statistics are great. The analytics, they're great.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, it's just one of many tools.
Yeah, that's a good
Yes.
point.
You can't
Love
make
it.
a plan
Love it.
and
Yeah.
just stick to the plan.
That's what he said.
That
Yes.
you're not being a good coach if you do that.
Yeah.
He said you got to be able to use your brain
There you
and your
go.
character
Yeah.
and change things up if they need to be changed. You can't just stick to the plan. But what does Stefanski do?
He sticks to the plan.
sticks to the plan.
Well, but here's
And
the
now
thing.
here we go again.
Okay.
Chubb run out of bounds because that's
Oh,
the plan.
Okay. A lot of
And we were just about to wrap
We were
things
just
up.
about-
I was gonna say that.
a lot of people said after game 1 that was something they noticed, is that there was a game plan and Stefanski did veer away from the game plan at the end because he changed up the scheme. So
It may be that one day he sort of wins my respect because he developed and grew.
And grew as
Right.
a coach.
But
That
the
would be
pain
nice.
of his childhood has given me many gray hairs.
Yes.
But it's just like being a good teacher. See, I'll bring this back around.
Bring it
Is
around.
when we write a lesson plan, some of us write lesson plans. We write a lesson plan, and you start doing the lesson, and the lesson is falling apart, and
Yeah, you
the
have
kids
to
aren't
change.
getting it. You've got to like stop and change. You got to use your brain. You have to
Yes,
think.
there you
Wait,
go.
they're not getting this.
Well, and we're dealing with
It's-
people. That's
and
the
you're
bottom
dealing
line.
with
You're not
people.
dealing with
Yes.
robots, and that's what the analytics don't take into consideration.
And I remember when that first became popular, I was like, okay, that's great, but that's stupid if you think that's like
That's
the
the
end all
answer.
be all.
Yeah.
You know?
and this is why.
And then that produced Stefanski. Oh, he's the analytics man. That's why
Yeah.
we want him. You
Well,
know?
it's not just him, because they said the same thing about Sean McVay in with the Rams, you know. And see,
Yeah.
that was the problem, is the Rams then won the Super Bowl that one year, and then
Yeah.
they're
Analytics.
like,
There's
this is
always
it.
that
It was
one
the
anomaly
Right,
that-
right.
That's
this
why
is-
it's like them
Right.
saying Sean Watson was. I got it right, didn't I?
no.
Yeah, you did. Deshaun Watson. You said Sean. You didn't say
said
just
Sean.
Sean. So we're getting
When he
closer.
starts winning touchdowns.
But you know,
I'll get
those
his name.
analytics, it's
Yeah.
the same thing that's getting you in fantasy, because you're going by the numbers and the projection.
Not always. No, I'm learning more and more this season that they don't know squat
Yeah,
because they
it's true.
predict all these highfalutin numbers, and you know, it's guy's gonna get 20 projected 20 points.
Yeah,
he
and it
gets
gets
3.
two.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
what
what's
the
happening.
hell's going
Right.
on here?
I know.
It's
That's
like
what's
they're
happening.
lumping all last season together.
Right. I
Like, he
think
had some
that's
good
it.
moments
That-
during the
that-
season.
That is exactly what
That
they're
has
doing.
nothing to do with what he's
This
going to do
season.
now.
Right. What's
Right.
happening
Because
this
Baker
year?
is already, last game got more points than what he was projected.
Yeah.
And he's doing better than what they projected. So,
Yeah.
Well, and shoot, I mean, you know, Tyreek Hill, as good as he is, I mean, they had him like projected for 20, and he did 44.
Oh, I know.
So,
We did
I mean,
amazing.
like,
Yeah.
totally.
It
And
was
I had
amazing.
him last year, man.
Yeah, I know.
I miss him
yeah.
so bad.
I know.
I know. That's it.
Golly.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I think I'd easily say he's the best wide receiver in
Yes,
the
I
NFL
think
right
without
now. I
question.
think he's amazing.
Yeah.
He is
And
absolutely
Tyrone
amazing.
has him on his fantasy.
I know, and that was so funny because Tyrone has never done fantasy, and he joined our league, and yeah, he was the top scorer. He had like 162
It was
points. Or
amazing,
something like that.
amazing
Yeah.
the first
It was
game.
so
Yeah,
funny.
yep.
It was great.
And he didn't even make the draft on time.
I know.
It was all
I know.
auto picks.
That was it. Well, it wasn't all
No.
auto picks. It was like the first two were auto picks, and then
Yeah.
he got in. But yeah,
Yeah.
He told Mom, he says, I was going to pick some guys, but man, the computer did
Yeah,
a
the
better
computer
job
was
than I
doing
would
better.
have.
Yeah, that's it. It's so funny. It's so funny. No, sometimes, and there's people that do that. They'll
Yeah.
sign up and they don't even join the draft. They just let it auto pick. And
I
they,
did that
you
pretty
know.
much on the hockey team. I did.
They
So
do.
we'll
Oh,
see
that's
what
funny.
happens.
He did.
Oh my gosh, he
I
did
know.
fantasy hockey, people.
Yeah.
He did fantasy hockey. I finally got it.
Hell has frozen over.
I'm telling you what, that's it. And we're skating all over it. Yeah. It was funny because he sent me the text message and it said it said McKinnon was his first pick. And I thought it was another fantasy football, and I was like, "Why in the world would you pick Jared McKinnon as your first pick?" And then I realized it was hockey, and I was like, "Oh, that McKinnon!" Like, oh my
He's been
god!
trying to
Then
get
he's
us to do
dancing
hockey.
all over.
That
the
was it.
classroom.
I know.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I didn't even know it was open yet.
I
I'm like,
know.
now I got to start putting my
He
team
was
together.
doing the gritty.
Yeah, that's.
All right, time to watch football.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Thanks for joining us with us for Coffee with the K's. If you have questions for us, please feel free to reach out, comment, and let us know if you have any topics you want us to cover on our next podcast episode. Be sure to follow us, Ron K's Music Instruction, on all social media platforms. Like, subscribe, and the intro and outro music is provided by Ron K off of his album K-Struction, so you can find that on all streaming platforms as well. And musiclessonspensacola.com if you're interested in taking lessons from these three goofballs. All right.
We were also voted the best music instruction school in the region of Northwest Florida last year,
That's
2022.
it. Yeah.
And we'll see where we come out this year. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot better. So
He has a feeling.
thanks to our
All right.
fans.
There you go. Yes, absolutely. We'll keep you updated on that. So, all right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time on Coffee with the K's.